Hello everyone. Today we shall discuss a very important topic which will be very helpful for programming in C language. This is known as pointer. The pointer a very important tool for C programming, and it will give you a very flexible programming whenever you are using this pointer for accessing some array elements or for accessing some string. As well as pointer is very useful for dynamic programming or for dynamic memory allocation. So let us start with the introduction. Now, what is pointer? So actually pointer is some address. So whenever a variable is declared in some C language, so for that variable, a particular memory location within the machine hardware will be automatically allocated by the compiler or by the operating system. Now that memory should have some address, and if you want to access that address, if you want to access that address or if you want to print that address, then you have to take the help of a special type of variable that is known as a pointer variable. So you are familiar with a simple type of variable like integer, floating point, character. But there are some variables in C language. There are special type of variables which is known as pointer variable and which is used to contain the address of another simple variable. So let me show you some programming example such that you can understand the concept of pointer. So here you can see in main we have declared three variables, int I, then float f, and then char c, and we have initialized this I by 3, this float f by 2.5 in floating point number, and c by 8. Okay. Now whenever you declare this, after compilation up to this part, what happens within the system or within the computer memory, for I, for f, and for c, three separate memory locations will be allocated. And this is shown in the figure here. You can see in your screen at the bottom of this figure. For I, some memory has been allocated. For variable f, some memory has been allocated, and for variable c, some memory has been allocated. And not only that, but also some memory address has already been assigned for these particular memory locations. Now remember one thing, you cannot assign this memory address by yourself. The address will be assigned by the system or by the compiler itself. Based on the availability of the free memory locations in the system or in the machine, this memory will be allocated. But what you can do, you can just access or only print those memory addresses. And here also you can see this 3 and 2.5 and 8, these are the values or data or content of these particular variables I, F, and C respectively. So you can consider in this way. So I is the name of the variable. Okay. 2000, this is called the address of the variable I, and 3, this is known as value of the variable I. So actually there are three parts, or there are three cases we can consider here. Name of the variable, that is I, value of the variable, that is 3, and address of the variable I, that is 2000. And 2000 will be automatically allocated by the system or by the compiler. Okay. Now, if you want to access or if you want to print these addresses 2000, 3050 and 684, you have to take the help of some variables which are known as address variables or pointer variables. And remember, whenever you are taking help of some variables, first of all, you have to declare those variables. Okay. So here you can see I have declared three variables int star ptr2i. Ptr2i simply stands for pointer to I. I is a variable. So instead of ptr2i, you can take any name. I have used ptr2r such that you understand that ptr2i, it implies pointer to integer variable I. Similarly, float star ptr2f and char star ptr2c. Now you can ask me one question here, that whenever we are going to declare a variable, we should write int space name of the variable. Why the symbol star? This is very much important. Here, star indicates that we are going to declare a variable which is not a simple variable or normal variable. We are going to declare a variable which is of type pointer variable, which is of type pointer. Okay, understood? That means whenever you declare int space star ptr2i, it will indicate that ptr2i is a variable which points to some integer variable. Similarly, float star ptr2f, it indicates that ptr2f is a variable which points to a floating point variable. Similarly, char star ptr2c, it indicates ptr2c is a variable which indicates or which points to some character variable. In other words, we can say that the int star ptr2i, this means that ptr2i contains the address of a variable which is of type integer. Okay, I repeat, int star ptr2i, this indicates that ptr2i is a variable which is containing the address of another variable which is of type integer. That means ptr2i contains the address of an integer variable. Similarly, float star ptr2f, here ptr2f contains the address of another variable, and that another variable is of type float. So float star ptr2f, that indicates ptr2f contains the address of a floating point type variable. Okay, and after that we have to assign this ptr2i by the address of I. Here you can see this is a symbol, ampersand symbol, and name of the operator is address of operator. You are already familiar with this type of operator in scanf statement. So address of I, this is assigned to a variable ptr2i, which is a pointer variable, or address variable. Similarly, address of f is assigned to ptr2f, which is of address variable or pointer variable, and the same logic can be applicable for the next one, that is ptr2c is assigned by address of c. Now what happens within this statement? Address of I, what is address of I? Address of I, you can see here 2000. This 2000 is assigned by the compiler or by the operating system, not by the user, not by the programmer. So this 2000 will be assigned to ptr2i. Now if you want to print, if you print ptr2i, you can see at the output that address this value, that is this address 2000. Understood? If you want to print or if you print ptr2i, you can see at the output screen this 2000. If you print ptr2f, ptr2f is assigned by address of f. Now what is address of f? Address of f is 3050. So if you want to print ptr2f, if you print ptr2f, you can see at the output 3050. Okay, and so on. So here there is statement printf value, address and value. Value is percentage %d. Here it is written I. I means the value itself, variables value, that means value will be 3. Now address ptr to I, so address will be 3000, sorry, it is 2000. And what is star ptr to I? Remember, except declaration statement, whenever you use this star operator or star symbol, this is the operator which is known as value add address operator. So star ptr to I, it will provide you the value that is present within the address ptr to I. So what is ptr to I? Ptr to I is 2000. So star of 2000 means the value present in the address 2000. Now tell me, what is the value present in the address 2000? It is 3. So again it will provide you the value 3. You can see at the output it is 3. The same thing is going to happen for floating point number as well as for character. Now one thing you can see here, that value is percentage but address is percentage u. Now tell me, what may be the type of an address? If you consider in real life scenario, address cannot be a negative number or address cannot be a floating point number. First of all, address cannot be a floating point number. And second one, address cannot be a negative number. So address is always a positive whole integer. So here percentage u that is used for indicating unsigned. U stands for unsigned. Address is generally printed in Turbo C editor or Turbo C compiler by percentage u. And you should remember, in GCC compiler, we use percentage p for printing or for accessing a pointer variable or for printing a pointer. Now what is the output for this one? You can easily tell me what is the output. Value 3 address 2000, value 3, then value 2.5 address 3050, value 2.5, and value h address 684, and value h. Okay, these three printf statements is going to be executed, and you can see the output here just like in this way. Okay, and here it is clearly mentioned that pointer is a special type of variable which is nothing but address of the value assigned to another normal variable. That is, pointer is an address which contains the value of a normal variable, and pointer or address is a whole number, answer integer. Hence, size of any pointer is size of an answer integer. Okay, ampersand symbol, it is known as address operator. Here, address of integer variable I is assigned to pointer variable ptr to I, and so on. And it is notable that float star ptr to f, float star ptr to f, please remember this one, it does not mean that ptr to f is a floating point type, but it means that ptr to f is a pointer which points to a floating point type value. Okay, that is which contains the floating point value. Simply we call that ptr to f is a pointer to floating point value. Actually the scenario looks like this. Say ptr to f, okay, it is a variable which points to another floating point variable f. So whenever we are declaring float star ptr to f, that does not mean that ptr to f is a floating point type, but that means that ptr to f is pointing to a variable which is of type floating point. That is the concept. Okay. And you should remember one thing, that star is known as value add address operator or indirection operator. It provides you the value pointed by the corresponding pointer. For example, star ptr to f is a value which is pointed by the pointer named ptr to f. So here star ptr to f means 2.5. Star ptr to f. What is ptr to f? Ptr to f is 3050. So if you apply star operator before that, star 3050 means value at address, the value that is present in the address 3050, the value that is present within the address 3050, and it is 2.5. Hence you can see the output 2.5. And you should remember one thing, that address of, that is ampersand and star, value at address, these are the reverse operators. So if we use or if you apply them just one after another, they would nullify or cancel each other. For example, star of address of f is same as f. You can apply bracket or you cannot apply bracket, both are same. Now address of star of ptr2f is same as ptr2f. You can apply bracket or it may not apply bracket. The result is same. Okay. So I think you have understood this part. Now I am going to discuss an important topic, that is pointer and array. So you are already familiar with array and you are also familiar with a pointer. Now I am trying to build some relation between pointer and array. So let us take an 1D array and let us let me show you how a pointer can be related with an 1D array. So here you can see there is an example, programming example, where an array of 5 integers whose name is num. The name of the array variable is num and its size or dimension is 5. I have already initialized this num by these 5 elements and I have taken an pointer variable which is ptr. Now the main important instruction for this particular program is this statement, that ptr is assigned by address of num0. Now whenever we have declared an initialized num5 by these 5 elements within the computer memory locations, what is happening? Some distinct 5 memory locations will be allocated for num0, num1 up to num4, and the value which we have initialized will already go to that corresponding memory locations allocated for that num I, for I is equal to 0 to 4. That is num0 is 3 and num1 is 26 and so on. And as it is an array, these memory locations will be allocated consecutively or sequentially. Let us assume the starting memory location is 2000. This will be allocated or this will be defined by the compiler, and the next memory location will be not 2001 but 2004 because one integer is occupying 4 bytes. So plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Okay, the memory locations will be like this. That is 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012 and 2016. Now you go or you check this statement. For I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. We are going to print value by percentage d for num I. So num I, if I is 0, so num0 which is 3, so value is 3. Then address is percentage u. It is printed through ptr. Now what is ptr? Here ptr is assigned by address of num0. Now what is address of num0? Address of num0 is nothing but 2000. So whenever you are writing ptr is address of num0, that means the base address of the array num is going to be assigned to the pointer variable ptr. So this is the scenario that is going to happen here. Okay, so ptr, it will be printed as 2000. Okay, now value is percentage d star of ptr. You know star of ptr means value or address 2000. So what is value and address in 2000? That is 3. So output is value is 3, address is 2000 and value is 3. This is the output you can see here. After that, the very important statement is ptr plus plus. ptr plus plus is actually you are incrementing the pointer variable. But you should remember one thing, that though I am incrementing this one times, after incrementation, it will not be 2001, but it will be 2004. As the pointer ptr is pointing to an integer, and as size of integer is 4 bytes, so whenever you increment one times, it will be automatically plus 4. So it will be 2004. So again we are going into the for loop. I is 1, I plus plus I is 1. So printf num1. What is num1? This 26. So value is 26. What is address? Now address is printed by ptr. Now ptr is 2004. So address is 2004. And after the start ptr, start of 2004, the value or address is 2004, which is 26. Okay. So this is output. And it will continue up to 5 times, and you can see this is our output. Okay. So this is the concept of pointer and 1D array. So that's all for today. Thank you. Thank you very much.